You ever feel like you're living inside a carefully constructed illusion? Not just a fleeting emotion, but a deep, unsettling tremor in your soul, hinting that the world you navigate, the reality you accept, is merely a sophisticated cage. Many of us walk through life sensing an invisible barrier, a profound limit on our potential. We hear a constant whisper that something vital has been forgotten. This isn't paranoia. This is an ancient truth, buried beneath centuries of dogma and convenience. A truth encoded in the very fabric of our cosmos. It is specifically tied to a distant ringed sentinel in our night sky, Saturn. What if this celestial body isn't just a planet, but a master key to the prison we call reality? For millennia, this question has haunted the wise. It has plagued the mystics. It has tormented those who dared to peer beyond the veil. They spoke of Saturn not as a benevolent god, but as Kronos, the devourer of time. They called him the stern warden, a cosmic entity deeply entwined with cycles of suffering, judgment, and an endless weary procession of souls. This isn't some modern age theory spun from thin air. This is a secret echoed in hermetic texts. It is whispered in alchemical symbols. It is etched into ancient religious architecture. It is woven into myths that survived the great purges of human thought. All of these disparate threads point to a singular, chilling realization. Reincarnation may not be a divine blessing. It might be a meticulously designed sentence. A loop, a wheel of return, spinning relentlessly, just like Saturn's rings. Today we will confront why the ancients truly feared Saturn. We will unveil how its influence, right now, might be subtly shaping your very thoughts. It might be shaping your entire life. It might even be shaping the destiny of your soul. This isn't just astronomy. This is the unraveling of a cosmic conspiracy that has kept humanity bound for ages, long before the advent of telescopes, before space missions dared to peer into the abyssal cold. Ancient civilizations felt Saturn's formidable presence. They didn't see a distant rock. They perceived a force. They saw a god. And this was not a god given to kindness. To the Greeks, he was Kronos. He was chief among the Titans, a being whose rise to power involved the overthrow of his own father, Uranus. Consumed by a gnawing fear of prophecy, he began devouring each of his children the moment they were born. Not out of malice, but from a terrifying insight. Time itself devours everything, even itself. This isn't merely a grim tale. It's a profound, chilling allegory. Kronos, or Saturn, symbolizes something far more disturbing than a mythical king. He represents cosmic repetition. He embodies cosmic imprisonment. He signifies the relentless cycle of birth, death, and forgetting. In various esoteric traditions, Saturn is not the benevolent creator. He is the cosmic jailer. He is the inexorable force that traps souls in a perpetual loop of karma. He is the engine of samsara. He holds us within a reality that endlessly recycles itself, all while keeping you blissfully unaware of the profound trap you inhabit. This brings us to the most vital question: why Saturn? Why this specific planet and no other? The ancient architects of confinement. The answer is not solely rooted in ancient myth. It also lies in observable reality, in a way few bother to connect. Saturn is the farthest planet visible to the unaided human eye. This singular fact positioned it as the ultimate boundary for the ancients. It was the edge of the known cosmos, cold, distant, agonizingly slow. It takes almost 30 years to complete a single orbit around our sun. In the cryptic language of astrology, Saturn is hailed as the great teacher, but also the strict punisher. It governs structure. It dictates time. It imposes limitation. It presides over suffering. It enforces the inevitable consequences of action. Its dominion is not over joyous growth, but the exacting payment of cosmic debt. But beyond its symbolic weight, Saturn possesses unique physical characteristics that defy conventional understanding. At its north pole, astronomers have recorded a colossal, perfectly geometric hexagon, a storm system utterly unlike anything else ever observed in our solar system. It remains stable, unchanging, for decades. A six-sided vortex that eerily corresponds to principles of sacred geometry and the shadowed, three-dimensional form of a cube. This cube, as we will soon see, repeats itself, overtly and covertly. It appears throughout the most sacred rituals. It is embedded in religious architectures. It is even woven into the ceremonial garments of judges and clerics across the world. Furthermore, Saturn emits sound. This is not a metaphor. This is a literal, measurable phenomenon. NASA probes have recorded strange, rhythmic radio waves emanating from the planet. When translated into audible frequencies, they do not resemble the random static of deep space. They sound like a transmission, rhythmic, mechanical, almost deliberately intentional. In the cryptic art of alchemy, Saturn is often associated with lead. This is the heaviest of the base metals. It embodies the nigredo, or the blackening stage. This is the alchemical death of the old self. It is the necessary decay before any true spiritual rebirth can occur. In the arcane wisdom of the Kabbalah, Saturn is linked to Bina. This is the realm of understanding, but it is also a sphere of supreme structure and restriction. It is seen as the cosmic womb that both creates and rigorously contains. And within the forgotten Gnostic texts, Saturn reverberates as a chilling echo of the Demiurge. This is a flawed, lesser creator who constructed this material world as a prison. Its purpose was to trap the pure soul inside it, a reality presented as freedom, but ruled by repetition, decay, and profound cosmic amnesia. So why Saturn? Because no other celestial body fits this chilling archetype so perfectly. Every aspect of its being, its mythological history, its astrological dominion, its peculiar physical structure, and its pervasive symbolic presence points to the same terrifying conclusion. Saturn doesn't merely represent the trap. It is the trap, a wheel that spins without end, a cycle we are born into. We suffer within it. We die within it. We return to it, never truly remembering how we arrived here or how to escape. If any of what I'm sharing resonates, if it sparks a deep, intuitive knowing within you, then you're likely one of those souls who has always sensed the deeper currents. You feel the unseen mechanics of this reality. You might be one of the few ready to truly awaken. If you want to continue this journey of uncovering the unconventional and hidden knowledge, the kind that isn't taught in schools or preached from conventional pulpits, consider joining this unfolding revelation. There is so much more to uncover on this path. The echoes of the void. If Saturn embodies structure, cosmic law, and judgment, then its pervasive shadow stretching across human history's most sacred traditions should come as no surprise. The archetype we've been tracing, this devouring god, this cosmic warden, did not vanish with the fall of empires. It simply adapted. Over countless ages, its influence became more subtle. It became more symbolic, yet it was no less profoundly powerful. In ancient Babylon, Saturn was worshipped under the formidable guise of Ninurta. He was a god of war, of harvest, and of stern discipline, not a deity of gentle grace, but a strict enforcer of cosmic order. In the hallowed halls of ancient Egypt, his essence manifested within Osiris, not only as the lord of the underworld, but as the ultimate judge of the soul, determining its fate after death. And in imperial Rome, Saturn presided over the bizarre and unsettling celebration known as Saturnalia. This was a ritualistic, temporary suspension of all social order. Roles were reversed. Slaves were treated as kings. Chaos, carefully controlled, was permitted to reign for a brief period. But beneath this surface of madness, it was a controlled chaos. It was ritualized, it was strictly scheduled, and it was always, without fail, followed by the rigorous restoration of established order. Even in its moments of orchestrated lunacy, Saturn ruled. Consider the account of a mystic monk in Florence in 1656. During a ritual trance, he claimed to witness a black throne pulsating in the heavens. It was a perfect cube, emanating countless voices. He was convinced this was Saturn's very seat of cosmic judgment. For daring to commit this vision to paper, his work was seized by the Inquisition. He was never heard from again. These were not isolated cults or fringe beliefs. The Saturnine archetype did not fade into obscurity. It migrated, it infiltrated the very heart of the great monotheistic religions. In Judaism, Saturn profoundly governs the Sabbath, Shabbat. This is the seventh day, a day not necessarily of boundless joy, but of cessation, a divine pause observed with profound discipline and strict structure. It is, by ancient reckoning, Saturn's day, a day of restriction, of holding back, of cosmic containment. In Islam, we see his sacred geometry encoded within the Kaaba itself. This is a perfect, immutable black cube. It is the singular focal point of pilgrimage for millions upon millions of faithful. They circle it again and again. They mimic the orbital motion that profoundly echoes Saturn's own rings. This is a hypnotic, repetitive ritual of cosmic alignment. And in the hidden symbolism of Christianity, Saturn's signature appears in ritual garments. The stark black robes worn by judges, by priests, by scholars. This is a direct symbolic reflection of his dominion over law, hierarchy, and unyielding tradition. Then there is the geometry itself. At Saturn's North Pole, astronomers did not merely discover something unusual. They found something that by all conventional laws of astrophysics should not exist. A six-sided storm.
A hexagon.
Vast, stable, and eerily perfect. This isn't abstract poetry. This is observable, measurable reality. That same hexagon, when flattened and mirrored, becomes the six-pointed star, the hexagram, the Star of David, the Seal of Solomon. This is a powerful and ancient symbol used in esoteric traditions, not for creation, but to bind, to contain, to seal. Occultists often refer to it as the Black Star, and when rendered into 3 dimensions, this hexagon transforms, unequivocally, into a cube. This is the same exact shape as the Kaaba. It is the philosopher's stone in alchemy, often described as a perfect contained form. It is the alchemical prison of dense matter. In profound symbolic systems, the cube is never merely a container. It is a cage. It is an object that, while reflecting ultimate stability, also embodies profound limitation. It represents the perfection of static form. It signifies the loss of dynamic movement. Saturn, within this unsettling context, transcends being merely a planet or a mythological figure. He becomes the silent architect of the physical world's very laws. His pervasive symbolism shapes not only temples and rituals, but our calendars, our culture, even the very words we speak. Saturday is his day. It is the final day of the week. It is the cosmic reset before the next cycle inevitably begins. The unseen matrix of perception. But perhaps the most profoundly unsettling aspect of this entire revelation is how utterly oblivious most of humanity remains to it. The rituals persist, the symbols proliferate, surrounding us. The ancient archetype endures, but the essential awareness has vanished. Saturn has become effectively invisible to us. He has done this simply by becoming normal. He is not absent from our lives. He is everywhere, hidden in plain sight. If Saturn truly represents the ultimate boundary, the cosmic weight, the endless, grinding repetition of time, then we must confront the most terrifying question of all. What is it containing? What profound force is it holding in place from the distant, frigid edge of our solar system? According to numerous esoteric and Gnostic traditions, the answer is brutally direct. It is holding us, or, more precisely, it is holding what remains of us once the physical body dies. In the Gnostic worldview, a perspective that was brutally suppressed for centuries by mainstream religious institutions, the material world isn't some divine gift. It is a meticulously constructed trap. This physical universe, they claimed, was not created by a benevolent, all-loving God. It was built by a lesser, flawed, even malevolent force, the Demiurge, whose singular, overriding purpose is to keep human souls confined within a meticulously crafted, utterly false reality. The soul, in this chilling vision, is not evolving. It is imprisoned. It is recycled through countless lifetimes, deliberately deceived into believing this endless loop is genuine spiritual growth. And Saturn, within that suppressed cosmology, is not merely symbolic. He is the enforcer. He is the cosmic regulator. He is the colossal machine that keeps everything spinning, trapping our consciousness. What many traditions benignly describe as reincarnation or spiritual evolution, Gnostics chillingly interpret as a kind of energetic harvesting system. Samsara, the endless wheel of rebirth, is not a ladder leading to liberation. It is a spiritual treadmill. You live, you suffer, you forget your true nature. You die, and then it begins, relentlessly, all over again. Karma, rather than being some divinely perfect form of justice, becomes the ingenious mechanism used to justify this looping. The soul, convinced it deserves to return, readily re-enters the cycle. And that is precisely what makes the trap so devastatingly effective. But some esoteric theories push this unsettling concept even further. They suggest that the afterlife experience itself, that often reported light at the end of the tunnel, the comforting voices of loved ones, the profound sense of peace, is not a path to some celestial heaven. It is a simulation, a precisely engineered reset protocol. The soul, disoriented and vulnerable after physical death, is shown exactly what it expects to see. It trusts, it complies, and it re-enters the cycle, utterly unaware it ever had a choice. And once again, Saturn emerges, not as a passive, inert rock floating through space, but as an active transmitter, a source of pervasive signal, a device. This is where the esoteric crosses the threshold into the realm of the measurable. In 1981, NASA's Voyager spacecraft documented something profoundly bizarre about Saturn, a massive, perfectly shaped hexagon at its north pole, thousands of kilometers wide, rotating with almost supernatural precision. No other planet in our solar system, or any exoplanet observed, possesses anything remotely similar. It is a six-sided vortex, frozen in shape, persisting for decades. Scientists today still cannot explain its formation, nor how it maintains such impossible stability. But it is there, spinning silently, like some cosmic lock. And then there is the sound. Saturn emits radio waves. These are deep oscillating pulses that can be picked up, amplified, and translated into audible frequencies. What you hear is not the random roar of cosmic wind, nor the lifeless static of empty space. It is something else entirely, something structured, repetitive, mechanical. It sounds, chillingly, like a broadcast, which raises a profoundly serious question. Is Saturn broadcasting something? Is it transmitting a signal that affects us? In true occult traditions, sound is never just sound. It is a force. Frequencies are understood to influence the mind. They affect emotions. They even subtly alter our fundamental awareness. Ancient chants, sacred mantras, and precise harmonics were all built upon this very premise. And modern science, in its own halting way, is only now beginning to confirm these ancient insights. We now understand that vibration can structure matter. We know that specific waves can profoundly influence brain activity. So, what if this constant signal, this low pulsing hum emanating from Saturn, is an integral part of the trap? Not just an arbitrary sound, but a code, a frequency designed to lock the soul into a specific state. Its purpose is to keep the illusion running. Its function is to ensure we never ask too many questions. When you meticulously connect all these disparate elements, the ancient myth, the pervasive symbol, the precise geometry, the unsettling sound, it begins to look less like a series of uncanny coincidences and disturbingly more like a meticulously orchestrated design. If Saturn is indeed the core of this vast hidden system, then time itself, your very life, becomes a kind of fuel. Death and rebirth are not transitions to higher states. They are calculated loops. And we, all of us, are the ones being processed. Because Saturn does not merely represent control. Saturn is control. It feeds on cycles. It thrives on repetition. It consumes memory. And most devastatingly, it feeds on your precious time. We live our lives clinging to the belief in free choice. We believe in profound purpose. We assume linear progress, when in reality, we may simply be moving along a carefully carved path, dictated by a system far older, far colder, and far more cunning than we have ever dared to imagine. Breaking the ancient seal. By now, it should be clear that Saturn's pervasive presence is not merely mythological. It is not confined to the distant frozen reaches of our solar system. It is systemic. It is symbolic. It is deeply embedded not only in forgotten ancient rituals, but in the very architecture of our perceived reality. And nowhere is this more terrifyingly apparent than in one of its most enduring and enigmatic symbols, the black cube. The cube, in its stark, immutable form, reappears relentlessly throughout human history. We find it in the Kaaba at Mecca, endlessly circled by millions of devoted pilgrims. We see it in Jewish tefillin, small black boxes strapped to the forehead during prayer, binding thought to tradition. We observe it in the somber robes of priests, judges, and scholars, the ritual black that powerfully signifies authority, law, and unyielding order. And in contemporary esoteric thought, the cube is seen as Saturn's throne. It is his undeniable geometric signature, a perfect container, 6 faces, boundaries on all sides. It represents stability, yes, but also profound confinement, rigid structure, unmoving stasis. The cube, in this understanding, is the trap, and it is not merely an external structure. It profoundly mirrors the very architecture of belief itself. It is the mental box we are conditioned to live within, to think within, to never dare to question. Some theories expand on this even further. Saturn, they suggest, is not just a planet. It is the central transmitter in a vast energetic architecture that governs our reality. The moon, a closer, equally enigmatic body, receives this signal. Together they project a field, one that overlays our very perception and subtly manipulates the bandwidth of our awareness. What we perceive as objective reality, as truth, may be little more than an encoded illusion. It is a vibration broadcast directly into the human mind. It is interpreted by senses we never consciously chose. The prison, in this chilling view, is not built of physical walls. It is built of signals, of frequencies, of agreements we never consciously made, yet profoundly live by. And the cube, in all its silent ubiquity, is the perfect metaphor. It is a symbol of limitation, hidden brilliantly in plain sight. We move within its confines. We pray towards its form. We even dream inside its mental boundaries, never once realizing it was meticulously constructed to contain us. But here, a profound paradox emerges, a cosmic loophole that Saturn, with all its might, cannot control. What cannot be measured cannot be confined. Awareness, true, unfiltered awareness. It is dimensionless. It is not bound by geometry, or by language, or even by linear time. It is the raw, untamed presence that sees the trap for what it is, and then fundamentally steps beyond it. This, my friends, is what the ancient masters desperately tried to teach us, buried beneath layers of dense metaphor, intricate myth, and complex allegory. They taught that liberation is not granted to you by some external power. It is remembered. It is a profound rediscovery of your own innate limitless nature. They knew that the walls of the cube, be they physical, mental, or spiritual, dissolve the very moment you see them for what they truly are. They are mere projections. They are intricate mental architecture. They are belief systems, tragically mistaken for ultimate truth. The escape does not come from without. It comes, inevitably, from within, from the collapse of the illusion itself. From that electrifying moment, you stop identifying with the endless echo of conditioning and begin to listen to the profound, liberating silence that lies behind it all. Because if Saturn is the master architect of the cube, then your own pure awareness is both the door and the singular key. It is not hidden from you. It is the very essence you have carried, unknowingly, all along. It is the fundamental ability to remember who you truly are, beyond name, beyond form, beyond fear, beyond the very confines of the cube itself. So the next time you encounter the stark image of the black cube on a flag, in a temple, perhaps even in the deepest corners of your own dreams, do not simply look away in fear or dismissal. Look through it, transmute it. Because the cube is not just a prison, it is a profound cosmic question. And the answer, always, has been you. After everything we have explored today, the ancient myths, the hidden science, the pervasive symbolism, the suppressed religious truths, one chilling idea becomes almost impossible to ignore. This is the persistent ancient notion that Saturn has always been far more than just a distant planet. It is not merely out there in the cold abyss of space. It is profoundly, terrifyingly present in the very systems that shape our lives. It influences our beliefs. It even impacts our most fundamental perception of reality. But the singular point of all this isn't to create fear. It is not to simply erect a new, elaborate myth to replace the old, worn-out ones. It is, rather, to recognize a profound, repeating pattern, one that has echoed across time. It has resonated through countless cultures. It has pulsed across diverse spiritual traditions, and more critically, it is to finally dare to ask the right, unsettling questions about it. Because once you begin to truly understand what Saturn represents, not just as a symbol, but as a cosmic principle, you begin to truly understand the system you were unwittingly born into. And most importantly, you begin to realize that you do not have to remain asleep, blindly trapped within it. This journey is not about physically escaping the world. It is not about engaging in some futile battle against a cosmic enemy. It is about realizing that many of the limits we have accepted, whether spiritual, mental, or cultural, are not nearly as fixed, as immutable, as they seem. That perhaps the prison itself is built far more from what we collectively believe than from what actually fundamentally is. Saturn, in this final, liberated view, is not merely the villain of some cosmic drama. It is the ultimate checkpoint. It is the very structure that relentlessly pushes you to question all structure. It is the symbol that dares you, profoundly, to go beyond all symbols, and perhaps Just perhaps, that is the deepest, most hidden point of it all. Not to blindly avoid the cube, but to truly understand what it means, to see how you have carried its limitations within you, unknowingly, all along. Freedom does not come from fighting the system. It comes from finally seeing it with ruthless clarity, and then choosing to live, think, and perceive differently. If any of these uncomfortable truths resonated with your soul, if you found yourself thinking about your reality in a way you never have before, or simply reflecting a bit more deeply on the invisible forces at play, I urge you to share your thoughts. What do you truly believe Saturn represents? A mere symbol? A cosmic prison? Or perhaps an ultimate, uncompromising lesson for humanity? Leave your insights in the comments below. And if this kind of raw, unconventional truth, this deep dive into esoteric knowledge, hidden histories, and true tools for awakening consciousness speaks to the core of your being, know that there is an entire archive waiting. Explore the dedicated playlists on this channel for more revelations. The link is always in the pinned comment below. Thanks for joining me on this arduous journey. Thanks for daring to think and for daring to question wherever you are. Stay awake, stay aware. The truth, after all, is not for the faint of heart.